We all hear it all the time, right? That sport is the great unifier, this perfect level playing field for absolutely everyone. And that's such a powerful idea. But what if it's not really true? As we're about to see, for a whole lot of people, that playing field is anything but level.
So that brings us to the big question. Is sport really for everyone? Well, the answer is kind of a paradox, because on one hand, you've got this incredible promise. The promise, and the research backs this up, that sport can be this amazing tool for social inclusion. I mean, it's supposed to build communities, break down barriers, and just bring people together. But the real question is, does it actually do that?
Well, this number here tells a totally different story. In the Netherlands, for example, there's a 22.2% gap in physical activity between people with high and low levels of education. And that's staggering. It means the very people who could get the most out of sport are often the ones being left on the sidelines.
So what is going on here? To get to the bottom of this, we're going to do a little investigating. We're going to use a really cool framework to uncover all the hidden barriers that are creating this gap.
All right, our investigation is going to start in the most obvious place, with the individual. What's stopping people on a purely personal level?
The main tool we're using for this investigation is called a socio-ecological model. The best way to think about it is like peeling back the layers of an onion to find the real root of the problem. So, let's start at the very center, the individual.
Okay, so at this individual level, the barriers are probably things that sound pretty familiar to a lot of us. It's not having enough time because of work or family. It's the cost of a gym membership or all the gear. It's feeling too tired or maybe dealing with health issues, or even just struggling with self-esteem. For some people, even something like a language barrier can stop them from joining a team.
And you know, it's really tempting to stop right here and say, okay, that's it, problem solved. But if we do that, we are only seeing a tiny fraction of the whole story. The truth, as you'll see, goes way, way deeper. So, to see the rest of the picture, we have to zoom out. We need to look at the people around us and the clubs we might join.
All right, moving outward in our model, we're now heading the social and organizational levels. This is where our own personal choices start to bump up against the people around us, our friends and family, and the way the clubs and organizations that run sports are actually structured.
I mean, think about it. Are you more likely to try a new spin class if a friend goes with you? For sure. And feeling safe and supported by your teammates? That's absolutely crucial. Seeing role models who look like you, who you can relate to, that can be incredibly powerful. Without that social stuff, people can feel totally isolated and left out. And the organization itself? It plays a huge role. An inclusive club works really hard to welcome everyone. They adopt their programs, they train their staff, they build a culture where people feel like they belong. But, on the other hand, a club with a one-size-fits-all approach can, without even meaning to, put up walls that shut people out.
But hey, our investigation isn't over yet, not by a long shot. The things that shape whether we can play or not extend way beyond the gym or the field. We need to look at the world we actually live in. Okay, we've now reached the final, outermost layers of our investigation. We're talking about the physical environment we're in and the bigger political and societal forces that shape our lives. These are the big picture factors that often set the rules for everything else.
The environmental hurdles are some of the most practical things you can imagine. Like, can you even get to the facility? Is there public transport that's affordable and reliable? Do you feel safe walking through the neighborhood to get there? And then, once you arrive, is the building itself actually physically accessible? These simple questions can be huge roadblocks for people.
And finally, we get to the biggest layer of all, the societal rules of the game. These are the invisible forces, things like cultural attitudes, what the media shows us, and government policies. Stuff like negative stereotypes or big funding cuts for community sports can totally tilt the playing field before a game even begins.
Okay, so we've gathered all the clues. Now it's time to put all the pieces together and solve the paradox we started with.
And here it is. This is the complete picture. The mystery is solved. See, the reason people get excluded from sport isn't because of any one single thing. It's a chain reaction. It's all about how these different levels, from our own personal feelings all the way up to public policy, interact and reinforce one another. This whole thing is what's known as the socio-ecological framework. It's really the key to understanding that whether someone participates in sports isn't just about their personal choice or motivation. It's shaped by an entire ecosystem of factors, from how confident they feel to their bus route to national policy.
And what's really wild is that even researchers have often missed this bigger picture. The study we've been looking at found that almost half, about 42% of the research on this topic, only focuses on one level, and it's usually the individual. Only a tiny 5% of studies actually took this holistic approach and looked at all 5 levels at once.
So here's the crucial point, the main takeaway. If we really want to fix this problem, we can't just tell someone to try harder. We can't just fix one piece of the puzzle. We have to look at and address the entire system from top to bottom.
And that leaves us with one final, really powerful question to think about. When we talk about making sports accessible and inclusive for everyone, are we actually looking at the whole picture? Because it's only when we see the entire system that we can really begin to change it.